was always fighting as a kid. I'll be honest with you. I loved having a scrap. It was just something I couldn't get myself out of. But so I ended up like obviously in the junior school, and then right the way through carried on in the secondary school. Obviously, wanted to be top dog and that cock of the school, if you want to call it that. And so yeah, I was always, I don't know, that little crown that doesn't mean a thing. When you look back at it now, to me it meant a lot at that time. So I was always fighting for it, but I was never a bully, in all fairness. But it was always like looking for that bigger and better challenge, if you like. The bigger the kid, the more of a row it was for me, and I wanted to get involved in it. But I was mainly into football, not boxing, if I'm being honest. I used to sit there and watch all the fights with my dad. We used to love watching. At the time it was Leonard and Hagler and the likes of them. Them guys were just, they were awesome, man. I used to watch how much my dad enjoyed watching them and think, I'd love to be able to do that kind of thing, but I never did. I was given too many headaches with the teachers ringing him up every day saying, we're going to have to put him on daily report again, he's been suspended or whatever, and it was always for fighting. So as I say, the strange thing was someone came up to me and sort of said, you might be hard on the school playground, so to speak, or on the streets, but come to the gym and we'll show you what it's all about. The kid had actually been boxing a few years at the time, and so I went down to the gym with him. I took him up, but it was a challenge for me, and it was like, yeah, go on then, I'll go down there. And I went down there and he gave me a good hiding, if I'm being honest. It was Lakeside ABC was the first club, which was in Kinghurst, which is a stone throw away from my gym now, really. Pretty local to where I was. And that was where it all sort of started for me. I went down there and he I was saying, give me a good ride, and I remember just thinking, walking, it was quite a lot. It wasn't that far, to be fair. It was probably only about half a mile away for that, but it seemed like it was like a 10-mile walk back from that gym. I think the pride was hurt, as you know, and all the rest of it, because I actually thought I could look after myself, and I'd got in there against someone who'd been taught the noble art and knew how to box and come out second best, second best, thinking, wow, yeah, that was a bit of an experience. Right, you go one way or the other. You either never see the kid again, and I see it myself today with some of the kids I train. You never see them again, or they're back and they're determined to make themselves better. And I wanted to be as good as this kid that I'd sparred, and if not better, and that was my main job, was then to get involved. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to give up. And then you start and then I started to become a bit of a boxing historian, where you're looking at some of the old guys. Armstrong and Willie Pep, and you just start looking at some of the old videos of these guys and thinking, I can try and bring some of them moves into my own game, sort of thing. And that's kind of how it started to roll. And still, I did take to it pretty natural. I really did. It was something that was quite natural to me, where I could watch Leonard doing his bolo punch or whatever it may be, and try and replicate that on the bags myself and stuff, and found that I could do it quite easy, to be fair. And I thought I was doing quite well. Obviously, not that well to the trainer that was there, because he wasn't going to card me, and I was absolutely devastated. He was like, "Look, Wayne," he said, "you're all right, but you get a bit more time yet, so you're not ready. I'm going to card this other kid, and you're not ready." I said, "What do you mean you're not going to card me?" He went, "No," and I was devoed, and I said, "Look, listen, let me spar him." This was the try. I said, "Let me spar him." I said, "If I hold me, and then card us both. Just don't just card him, card me as well." So literally, he said, "Okay, then I'll let you get in there and have a spar with these kids." So we got in there and we sparred, and I'll be honest with you, I was just like a man on a mission, and I completely wrecked him big time. Literally went to the stage where he never ever came back to the club after. I got carded, and the rest was kind of history. And in the first year in the amateurs, I went all the way to the ABA semi-finals. Got beaten in the semi-finals. It was more on experience than anything. I was used to boxing in little social clubs, and here I was at this big leisure centre in this big, it was a crazy experience. And I think the experience, rather than the fighter, beat me, because I'd done absolutely nothing for 3 rounds. It was kind of like, I just remember being in the toilets before the fight even started, going, shit, it just seemed a little bit mad. I was used to the little social clubs and stuff, and it was still only my 8th fight. The thing is, when it started for me really as I boxed, as I said, ABA semi-finals after only 8 fights, and you're already sort of in that top class. Then I beat the ABA semi-finalist on the way there, and all the rest of it, and the favourites I was beating along the way, if you like. I remember boxing a kid in Reading with the England gear on and all the rest of it, and a lovely white kit. And I remember saying to me trainer at the time, Les, I went like, don't worry, and this is what I'm saying about the way I was. I said, see that kit at the end of this fight, I'd be covered in blood. And he was laughing. At the end of the fight, it wasn't actually covered in blood, and he said, his kit don't look very dirty, and he got a bloody nose, and there was all, the old gloves and that got red all over my finger. And I went up to the kid and I actually said, well done, son. And I rubbed the blood off his nose all down the front of his sock, and I said to Les, there is now, son, turn back. So he said, there is now, there you go, sort of thing. Always thrown at the deep end. I took a bit of time out in the amateurs, like I say, it was stop-start career, hence the amount of fights. My best pal, unfortunately, committed suicide, and we was going to start back. He was one of them who was always saying to me at the time, Wayne, you should get back into the boxing. You're an idiot. At this time, it was a one women and strong. I went off to Wales, to be fair. It was just literally I was out on the town and enjoying life, and the boxing took a bit of a sidestep. At 17, I was told to have a bit of a break. I didn't come back till I was 21. Even in that time, it was like I was reckless. I was a bit of a wrecking ball, really, and that's where the mad dog came from. It took my best friend, obviously, committing suicide to get me back in there, because you're saying you're an idiot, you're out drinking, you're doing this, you're doing that. One woman in the song, basically, fighting, and you're an idiot, you're a good boxer, and you should get back in the gym. I said, I'll tell you what, then, Leroy, we'll start back, mate. September, me and you will get back in the gym. Unfortunately, he didn't make it, so then he passed away before I committed suicide, unfortunately. And so it was my mission. I went back to my old club, and they basically told me where to go, really. Don't be stupid, you've been out how many years and you want to go in the ABAs. I need to go in the ABAs, I need to. In memory of my mate, I'm going to do it. Look, I'm a different kid now. I've been trying, I've been running, I'm just landing on the doorstep. I'm going to win, I'm going to win these for him. And so I wasn't messing about, mate. I was a totally different character. And as I say, they knocked me back. So I said, no, we're not having it. And there was two guys that I knew from when I was a kid, basically, that had started up a brand new club, Erdington Amateur Boxing Club, and it just literally only just been going about 6 months. And I went to them and said, please put me in the ABAs. I need to do this for my friend, I really do. I can't wait till next year. I need to do it now. I've been running, I've trained, I've never trained so hard. I'll be honest with you, throughout most of my amateur career, bar that little bit there, I never actually trained. They literally, honestly, I didn't really train as hard as I should have, if you like. Road running, I don't know, I was quite naturally fit. I've done football and stuff alongside it as well. But I'll be honest with you, I was a kid who was mainly, me and you'd be working around the bags, and then as soon as the trainer weren't looking, I'd be going, what are you doing later on then? It was like that. It wasn't. And then when we do the sparring, the lads would go, yeah, it's because he hasn't done anything all night, lads. That's why he's giving us an ID, because he ain't done nothing. He's just been stood there. But cut a long story anyway. So I've took this big 4 years out and joined it with Erdington ABC. Straight into it, loads of people said, you're going to get hammered. You're silly. You've not had no warm-up fights, you're going to go straight into the ABAs. I went, yeah, I'm going to do it, and I went all the way to the final, and I was favourite going into the final, to be fair, before that, because I beat some really good kids along the way. One of them, Jason Ratcliffe, actually turned pro. I beat him. I mean, today it would have been a stoppage. It was 40-15 on the computer scoring, which was a stoppage in today's scores, but it was the first year they ever done computer scoring. But anyway, so I beat him, got to the final, got beat, controversially, I'm going to say, to John Pearce, who then obviously went on to captain England, Commonwealth gold medal, beat Carl Froch. So he wasn't a bad kid. He was a good fighter, but I didn't really get out of the blocks, and I walked away again from the sport. Only to reservice. I was a pro at 24. So I was used to these gaps. I was also used to being thrown at the deep end. So the final fight for me was no different to what I was always used to. People telling me I'm going to get hammered. You've only had 9 fights, you must be mad. Like I say to my kids now, you've either got it or you haven't, and there's no middle ground for me. You've got it or you haven't. It's as simple as that. Don't make. You can have 100 fights, but if you crap, you crap. It's as simple as that. If you haven't got that, what you need to progress, then you're not going to win anything. It's as simple as that. It's not about the amount of fights you have. I don't believe in that whatsoever. As you know, I mean, for the dawn of time, how many journeyman fighters, have had 200 fights? Does that make them a better fighter than someone who's only had 5 or 10? They're getting beat by a guy who's only had 5 or 10 fights. Come on, So it's that's how I look at it, really. I only had 36 fights, believe it or not, but I only suffered defeat 5 times, so I didn't do too bad. And I'll be honest with you, and all the fights I had were literally championship fights. It's mad because my pro career was pretty much going to mirror my amateur career. In my head, mentally, I said, when I've been beat 5 times, I'm going to retire. I don't know why I said that. But in my head, mentally, I put that picture on there. So I've still got a fight. No, I'm not coming back really. But no, I've still got a fight left really. But yeah, there was all championship fights. I really I kept falling in and out of love with the game because I was putting all the work in and I wouldn't get any fights. Boxing in the amateurs near the end of my amateur career, it was getting to the stage where I was literally turning up to shows. I mean, the Birmingham title, God, I won it that many times without even fighting. It was unreal. And then I was saying to you earlier about obviously the way you've got to have that little bit of cockiness and whatever, and obviously I was living at my mum's house at the time. My mum was a smoker, and it was I remember the trophy. It was a silver trophy. The Birmingham Cup was a big cup. It was silver. Now you can imagine if there's a smoke around it, obviously it's going to get quite yellow, and it looks a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. And I remember turning up there the one year. Obviously defending the title, so I bring this cup back, and the reps going, "Oh God, what's the bloody hell state of that?" And I said to him, I'm taking it back home, so I'll clean it when I get back. And it was that kind of like attitude, and like, I hadn't even had the fight then, so I might not have even won the trophy, but it was that was a sort of like, I think you've got to have that little bit of, arrogance, you've got to have that little bit of belief in yourself. Hopefully I didn't overstep the mark, and it was mainly just towards my opponents, not anyone else. I didn't take that cockiness outside. I'm still the same today really. I've kept my feet on the ground, firmly on the ground from day one. Lennox and Bofa, I was on it with Matty Elliott as a floater, and they came in and went, Frank said, look, you're not boxing. Frank Maloney, he said, you're not boxing, you can take your money now, I'll box at the end of the night. And me and Matty Elliott was like, oh, you send the money then, why not? And I've come out of the changing room, and Lewis was just about to go in the ring, and I was like, oh my God, it was absolutely massive. It was the first time I'd sort of seen him up that close as I come out of the changing room, and it was mad, but it's a real experience for me. They didn't want me to box on that night. Because I said to her, my heart rate was going blah, 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 like that. It was my third fight, I think it was my third fight, right. And the heartbeat was going through the roof, and he was just like, well, it's like it's a regular heartbeat and all the rest of it. I said, wouldn't you be? It's my third fight. It was like, obviously at the Docklands Arena, massive place, it was a bit mad. Obviously the Howard Eastman bout and the Scott Dan bout, and the fight that never happened, it would have been my last fight, or could have been my last fight, the Barker. Unfortunately for me, it was. I wouldn't say I was a promoter's dream in terms of like, I wasn't a promoter's boy. A lot of the time, I was always through in there. So I wouldn't say to be beat, but yeah, the odds were stacked against me in a lot of the fights. You've only got to look against Serenko, who just obviously beat Gary Lockett, took his unbeaten record, and was really a feared man there, if you like. And so obviously to have him in your 9th fight. And after only fighting 4 rounds and jump straight to a 10 rounder and then fight Serenko, who got some wicked scalps on his record. Obviously they weren't expecting me to win that one, and I did. And then you fight Farnell, who'd had 30 odd fights, and so it's kind of like, you're always through it at the deep end kind of thing. But that's how I liked it. That's how I liked it. After beating Farnell, the sort of world was my oyster. I think we got. Hector Velez was being lined up, who obviously went on to fight Oscar de la Hoya, so he's one of them ones really you can say, that would have been me. No, it wouldn't be, because I never made the fight, but Hector Velez was being lined up to fight me next, WBO, and so on. He was, big things being spoke of then. I was, for the first time in my career, if you like, after the Farnell fight, a victory, I was being spoke of as their #1 middleweight, and I was going to go final, and I'm thinking, where are they actually getting looked after for the first time in my career. And really Lawrence was just through in there really just to keep me ticking over really, and just Scott Harrison was topping the bill, and it was just another fight, and that's how I looked at it really. I should have took it a lot more serious than what I did. I didn't, if I'm being honest. I looked at Lawrence's record, I seen the same kids, and this goes to show experience I can give to my own kids really. You look at the fighters that box and you think, he's doing 8 rounds and he's only just won it by a couple of points or whatever it may be. He struggled against him, and you read about the reports and you hear about the reports, and he struggled against guys that I was knocking out in 1 and 2 rounds, and you think, this is going to be a quick one, did I know it was going to be me on the receiving end. But I went in there with the wrong attitude completely, mentally not bothered whatsoever, fear factor 0. Let's just get this out of the way and get back to Birmingham after with my belt in tow. And I hope this kid's getting a few quid for the fight. My attitude going in there after working so hard to get there, and saying for the 10 previous unbeaten fights that I'm being stitched up, it ain't going to happen. I'm going to be on my game. For the first time in my career, I decide that I'm going to bloody let me guard down, if you like, and get in there with the wrong mental attitude. But listen, you know, I can look back at that now. It was a massive curve for me. Massive respect for Lawrence. I love the kid to bits. He's a nice kid. He's very humble. You know, I've spoken to him. I speak to him on the social networking and stuff now. We've spoken about. Not, you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't a lucky punch. Yes, I didn't have the right mentality, but you know, he landed the shot. You know, and people say it was a lucky punch. It can't be a lucky punch if you threw it. You know, you've trained. He threw the punch. He took me out, and it's as simple as that. But the one thing I'm gonna say is that while sitting on the floor, and if everyone watches the video back kind of thing, it was like, in my mind, he was the one who was going to get knocked out. So me sitting on the floor, shaking my head to the referee when he's giving 5, I'm thinking, I don't know what you're counting for, mate. You know, I'm still thinking, what the hell's going on? I've never been down. That was the first time in my career I've been seated. I mean, it was a heavy knockout as well, or a heavy knockdown, I should say. Took me completely out of the ring, got myself back up, and I just remember sitting there going, what the hell is going on? And the ref's going 6, 7. Now remember, I've never been down to the stage where the ref's counting me, and so he's going 8, 9. I'm thinking, I ain't going to get up in 3 seconds. You know, mentally, I just didn't prepare myself to be put down on the floor. I never thought I could be put down. So I learnt a lot from the fight. I knew that I could be hurt. I knew that I could be put down. I wasn't invincible, and so that's the sort of things that helped me. Obviously, in fights down the line, when you sort of get in there, knowing in the back of your mind that if I go down, what have you got to do? Take a knee, get up, whatever it may be. But I learnt that lesson. Unfortunately, I learnt it just as I was about to explode and go on to bigger and better things. That's the lesson that I've seen a lot of young pros make now. But thankfully, it's only after 1 or 2 fights against a journeyman or whatever it may be, and they get caught, and you know, and literally they'll take a knee and they'll just scrape through it, and then they'll come through, and then obviously they've gone on to do very well down the line. But I didn't really get that learning curve. I'll be honest with you, I found it all too easy. A bit like in the amateurs, a bit like when I was an am. The same thing as a pro. It was kind of like from there to there. What? I've got a title. It's already, you know, everything was opening up for me.
Yeah.
Way quick. Don't get me wrong. I run 7 days a week. I train 7 days. I train like a demon. You know, I really did. Didn't leave any stone unturned. You know, I was, you know, completely took the job serious, but it came too easy. This ring was built in 1960 something, and it was Paddy Lynch who had it built now. It was really mad, this was, because I'm speaking to my trainer Paddy Lynch and I'm telling him about it. We bought the ring off Birmingham, and I said, I think it came from Lady with ABC now. It was my trainer Paddy Lynch that actually bought this ring. How mad's that? The other one, the brother to it, or the sister if you want to call it that, is in my old pro gym. Because he said, you know what he says? It's got 3 ropes. Obviously boxing rings have 4 ropes. He had it specially made. Right. And this was originally bigger than this. And Pat Caldwell took it with him when he retired from the sport. Pat Caldwell had this ring originally. Right. And it was too big. So he had it cut down. He had 2 foot to coffee. So my one in the Paddy's gym, where Frankie Gavin and the Yaffai brothers are training now, that's an 18, that is a bigger one, again. But they were both made the same size, and they were both from one of the clubs, Birmingham City Boxing Club. He bought them 2 rings and took them with him. And so I've got one of them. It's mad that this is like, yeah. When I found out, I just seen one of the pictures on the wall, and I just thought, I know that place. And I just, obviously, I put a bid in there, and fair play to them. They took it off. And they let me buy it because I was local and I'm just down the road, and they knew obviously I'd just started a boxing club. But I've actually sparred in this ring myself, God knows how many times when I was growing up. You know, it's
put on eBay.
It's older than me. It's older than me. So basically all I did was bought some new corner posts, give it a paint, give it a bit of TLC because it was a bit of a mess. We're waiting for the new canvas to come with the club, with the academy badge on there and so forth, which is just tied up, and that'll be that finished. We've got vinyl covers coming for the ropes, and that's it. I mean, I've still been saying that, we've had it pretty 8 or 9 months now, and I still haven't got that as far as where we've got at the minute, which is to paint the new corner pads. But eventually, yeah, we'll get it so it'll blend in with everything. But it's just weird. There's so much history in there that I've actually sparred it as an amateur myself, and it's come back here just by chance. Yeah. It's ended up with us in this gym. So. After I got beat by Lawrence Murphy. Knocked out, standing in the ring, Frank Warren comes over to me. Frank, I'm sorry man, I'm devout, you know, I can't believe this. Get me a rematch, because honestly, I know I can beat that kid. And it was strange, I always knew that I had the tools to do him, you know, I felt I could beat him on all fronts, but for some reason, just didn't happen for me. And then it was a bad day at the office, but I knew I could beat him. So I said to Frank, get me that fight. I need to get me the rematch. He said, sorry son, I can't do that. He said, tell you what, it was great TV though, weren't it? I thought, you horrible bugger, but there you go. So Race excelled a little bit there, and he was kind of pushed to boxing at 12:30 at night when all the main events had been boxed and whatever else, and you were sort of like through as an afterthought at the end. That's how my career started. Went from like being chief supports and so forth to, just get him on if we can. If you can get him on at the end, try and get him on. Everyone's gone home, and it went that kind of way. And I just thought, I'm not being looked after. I had a couple of fights after that, and he was saying I wasn't the relationship with Frank wasn't great. So I decided it was time to move on. I didn't actually move on. I actually quit the sport again completely. So I quit and went and done a normal day job, if you like. And it was only a chance interview by a boxing journalist. Just rang me up out of the blue, literally asking what I was doing and whatever else. And he asked kind of what went on, and I just said I wasn't happy where I am, and literally I'd still got, I think, 18 months left on my contract or something like that. And when I spoke to him, he said, what are you going to do? You're a boxer, what are you going to do? I said, I ain't like some of these. I've got a trade behind me, which I was a BT engineer, telephone engineer by trade. So I went back to it, which hurt. It was hard to do, but I did. I weren't going to stay somewhere where I didn't feel my career was progressing. So I went back to a normal day job, if you like, and sat out these 18 months. At the end of the 18 months, obviously we'd done this interview, and it was like, will it ever be Wayne's world again? And obviously everyone knew then I wasn't with Frank, because I suppose I was off the scene, so no one really knew what was going on. And so I had the phone was off the hook, literally, from local promoters and so forth, asking me what's going on, what you're doing, and I said on the interview, my only regret was never boxing in Birmingham. Boxed all over the country, but never boxed in Birmingham, my hometown, which I would have loved. And so they were going, do you want to box in Birmingham? I was like, mate, I'm not interested, I really, I've give up on it. I love boxing, but the politics just does me head in. I can't be bothered with it all, because I was pissed, because obviously Lawrence, I didn't get the return against Lawrence. Final fights him after and knocks him out in 3 rounds. I'm like, it's each one of them really. And then Final says, well, I ain't giving you a rematch, man. I never said I wouldn't fight Final again. I would have said I would have fought Anthony any time of the week, but the reports, I spoke to Anthony after the fight. I've met each other a few times. He's a good kid. Another nice kid. It's mad. His sport just brings people together. But yeah, he just said, he'd been told that I didn't want the rematch. Well, I would have fought him any day of the week. It weren't a problem. But that's what he'd been told. So it was like, literally, besides you wouldn't give it me. I'm not going to give it you. So he went on a different path and sort of like blocked that. So regarding the Murphy fight you were talking about, and the revenge mission, if you like. The carrot that was dangled, if I'm going to come back on it, is something that I can really get my teeth into. Now, the fight that derailed my career, I believe, and stuck me back from up being there down to there again, was the Lawrence Murphy fight, and it's eating away at me, it's bugging me. If you can get me Lawrence Murphy, then I'll come and I'll fight for you. It was a guy called Ken Purchase. He does a lot of the promotions. He was mainly involved in doing celebrity sort of speaking and stuff like that. He was mainly involved in that side, but he was branching out into the boxing area, if you like. And so I said, if you can get me Murphy, mate, I'll box. I need, but you got to get me someone I can really get me teeth into and really get me up for it again. Yeah. And so he got me the Murphy fight, and as I say, I trained like a demon for Murphy. It was time for revenge, and yeah, it was. I think I went on from there. Again, this is why I like saying to my kids, if you lose someone, let's get back in there, let's see how much you've learned from the last fight, and let's try and get the W, if you like, so you can move on, because it does. I knew to myself I wasn't chinny. You can't go, 15 years or whatever in a sport, never been knocked out, and then all of a sudden overnight you've become chinny. It doesn't happen, I used to spar in the gym. I'd spar heavyweights, and my sparring partners through my pro career was people like Tony Oki was my main sparring partner, Linford, Danny McIntosh. All these guys are light heavies, and I'm a middleweight. So and you're getting banged by them guys. And Danny Mac, to be fair, he's a big puncher. Danny was a big puncher, and they'll tell you, at the end of the day, it wasn't a matter of me getting put on my arse every, and that would be the case. I wouldn't be sparring like heavyweights. I'd be sparring bloody light welters and welters, because I wouldn't want my whiskers touched. So I knew I wasn't chinny. So that was something that I had to really put to bed. But you still, after being put down that way, you still question yourself. Am I? Maybe. Father time's caught me. Maybe I've took too many, too many gym wars or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. and it's just caught up with me. Maybe it is. And so there was them demons I had to put to bed. So I needed this fight to get rid of them before I sort of went on to tackle the likes of Eastman and people like. Before I even thought about Scott Dan or the likes of. You've got to really, you've got to get in with someone who's done that to you and get through that fight. I didn't look at it. I thought, I'm ready. It was a 10-round British title eliminator. I'm ready to go 10 rounds, mate. And at the end of this fight, you're going to know you've been in 10 rounds. That was my only sort of attitude. And somebody said, "Do you want to knock him out in a round?" And I said, "No." Well, I didn't want to win that way. I wanted to prove I was, streets ahead in terms of ability and boxing ability. That's what I wanted to get in there and prove. So for me, I wanted to systematically break him down, break him apart. If it was 6, 7, 8, whatever rounds it was, but I was going to do it in style. And so I think he went down. He went down twice. And it was a comprehensive win. I think I stopped him in the 5th round. I remember him coming into the change room after me. Actually, I won't say street revenge because I like the kid. You know what I mean? For me, it was just a lot of satisfaction for myself, so I could move on with my career. But yeah, he come into the dressing room after and he said, "Put your arm out," and he was like, put his arm out. His reach was that much more because he was like 6 foot hard, and he couldn't believe I was catching him with the jab and stuff. And so. As I say, retired after that fight. So if you've got any sort of satisfaction, you can sort of move on and stuff and know that you were the better fighter. For him to then not box again after that fight was massive for me in terms of I can move on from this. I can put that to bed. Is there going to be a rubber match? No, he's retired. Not only have I beat him, I've retired him from the sport. So I suppose it was, but he did half retire my career in strength really because he did derail it big time. So. It was a little bit of both, but it meant that I could just move forward. It was a wicked atmosphere at the Aston Events Centre where it was held in Birmingham. He got a massive following, Steve, had to be fair. He got a really big following, and obviously I'd got a good following myself, so it was really I think if you was say neutral or even one of the fans there, it would have been quite on your seat really, to be fair, because it was quite hostile in there from both sides, to be fair. We both brought a big crowd. Steve was someone I remembered from way back in the amateurs, when we were both amateurs. I think somebody sent me an actual cutting from the ABS, the old amateur boxing scene, the ratings, and he was number 1, and I think at the time I was number 4. But I never actually got the chance to fight Steve in the amateurs, and I'm not a nasty person, so I have to use something to sort of build me up for a fight, if you like. So I've got to look for something that I can use to really get me to, want to do the job against you. And I don't think no normal person wants to hurt or do any damage to anyone. No normal person does. And so it was literally, I'm always trying to look for something that I can use against you, if you like. And that was Steve, even though it was all them years ago. And it wasn't Steve's fault. It was obviously his coaches that didn't take the fight. But it was like I wanted to fight him as an amateur really bad because I wanted to be number 1 in the Midlands. And although I'd won the Midland title, I still wasn't number 1 because he was boxing for England, so he didn't have to box me and all the rest of it. So I was kind of I'm number 1. I should be number 1 in the country. So I used that for that fight, going into that fight, to say look. And I remember sort of saying at the time, you're going to find out now why your amateur club didn't want you to fight me, mate. You're going to find out when we get in the ring. It's going to be my chance to get a bit of revenge and prove I should have been number 1. I always wanted an England vest, which I never got. And so, and he had it. And so it was kind of, that was my way of really sort of, if I can get this one over on him, it'll sort of lead to somewhere. Howard. Respected Howard massively. I was first signed up by Panics Promotions with Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was with us at the time, and he got Starry. Howard Eastman was obviously one of our star boys at the time. I remember being a middleweight on the undercard to him and stuff, and just watching him just in awe, just going, wow. Yeah, well, Frank, don't rush, mate. I'm in a rush at the minute, it don't matter. I'll wait a few years for him. Maybe he might be retired by the time we get there. Was the kind of attitude I sort of gave, to be fair, because listen, Eastman was quality, and I knew after the fight, I said, you watch, I've trained like a done. Honestly, the training I'd done for that fight was immense. I really put myself through hell, took myself away from my family. Just really, I wanted it that bad, that was kind of my world title. It was everything he wanted, because I knew what this guy brought to the table. Paddy Lynch, my trainer at the time, I got so much respect for Paddy, who I spent the last 7 years of my career with, and won 4 titles with Paddy. And such a knowledgeable man. I think I was his 16th British champion. He was, you know, he down this area, there's no one to touch him in terms of training and stuff. He was brilliant. Really good guy. So he says to me, look, I used to have Howard down all the time to spar Rob McCracken when Howard is on his way up. I know what he's all about, I know the game plan. And once Paddy kind of said that, I felt, you know, I believed in Paddy. I believed Paddy told me, you know, that's what how it was going to be, and if I box a certain way, then I'll win him. Then that's what's going to happen, and that's kind of what I went into the fight with, that sort of attitude. And what we wanted to do with Howard was watching his fights over and over with Paddy, and obviously knowing him sparring, is that Howard was a fantastic. He had a dynamite punch in either hand. But the thing is with him, he did go into lazy mode every time. He was probably, you know, very gifted, very talented, but sometimes he went into that little lazy mode. And what Howard did was, when you kind of stepped off a little bit because he'd got the power, is he'd put it on you. And then obviously you wouldn't want to match him with him anyway, but then he'd go into his rest period, and then obviously you wouldn't. So what it was about for me really was turning the tables round on Howard. That's how the fight was won for me. It was like, when you want to rest, I'm going to make you work, and when you want to work, I'm going to rest. And so it was kind of like just do the opposite on him. Really, is what we did, and that's how we won the fight so comfortably. To be fair, and it was a comfortable win in the end. Although even I think in the 11th round, I think he caught me with an uppercut, and I thought, whoa, he's still alive. And it was crazy because he just had so much power. It was unreal. I just walked straight onto it. But I just remember at the time it did. You know, I seen stars, and I just thought, do you know what, mate? I've not won all these other rounds to lose the fight now, and that's what kept me kind of going. You know, and just thought, this is my fight to lose, not yours to win. Because you've done bugger all, and now you're trying to put it on me in the later rounds, which you did. That I'd say from round 9 onwards, it was kind of like where I thought, well, he must have been thinking, what's he still doing in the bloody ring? He should have been out after 4 or 5. But he did really turn the screw on the last 9, 10, 11, 12, kind of in that championship round, if you like, at the end. It was nerve-wracking times, but for me, the beauty for me, I think I went out for that 12th round. I won the 12th round, and I caught him with some lovely bombs, and you know, I was sharp again. And I think once I've made the 12, it was kind of like, wow, I'm here. You know, this is it now. You know, let's just close the show in style, kind of thing. I'm not looking at just bouncing and moving. I'm here. I'm still here. Let's have it. And so, yeah, I mean, like I say, massive fight for me, and by far the biggest career win for me, without a doubt. You know, I'm very proud to have won the British title and so forth against, you know, one of the great British fighters that we've had in the middleweight division for quite some time. You know, Howard was, you know, in every sense of the word, he ruled that division more so. Who else have you seen ruled the divisions like that? For I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I really do believe that fight broke him. The fight against me broke him. It wasn't a matter of him failing that much. I believe the fight broke him. He came to me after and he said, you know, I never thought you'd be that strong. I never thought you hit that hard. You know, he weren't told anything about me really. He just thought it was going to be a demo job, 3 or 4 rounds. And he'd actually, to the stage where they'd actually already booked the Abrahams fight. 9 weeks after that was the Abrahams fight. And then Abrahams obviously sat and went, oh, shit, what have you done? Wayne, do you want to take the fight? You know, because it's all done. It was for Howard. You've just took his world ranking and whatever else. So that's how the Abrahams fight came out. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not taking nothing away from Abrahams, because what a great champion he was. And at that time he was a bit more like the Golovkin of the area, if you like, because I think he'd had 26, 27 fights and knocked out 23 or whatever it may be. He was the feared man in that division at that time. Again, many people didn't want to fight him. I wasn't bothered, although it was only 9 or 10 weeks after fighting Howard or whatever. So it was a horrible camp. One that I did not enjoy one bit, because I trained 12 hard weeks for Howard. And I'll be honest with you, I used to walk around at the weight near enough. So it wasn't, when I trained, it was on fitness only. So it wasn't like you get some people doing, I've done a 12 week or 16 week camp. But hang on, mate, you've done 5, 6 weeks where you're just getting your weight down. You know, when I come back to the gym, you know, you ever speak to any of my trainers or any people who know me in the game, even now 5 years in retirement, I'm probably not, you know, not a million miles off my old weight. But, you know, it's kind of like, I used to walk around, I used to live the life away from it, so I'd come back and you were literally straight onto the fitness straight away. So I think we had 4 days off, and Paddy said, look, you know, I wouldn't say to take a fight for money, but you know, I'll take it for the money, and I did, to be honest with you. But that's not taking nothing away from him, so I'm not saying I would have beat him. I went in there with the wrong attitude. I went in there and I said, like, I'm just going to have fun, it's going to be a few quid, and I went in there with the 12 rounds in mind. This kid's a bit slow in terms of, you know, his work rate's really slow, he's laboured, he just likes to walk you down, and I'm just going to keep peppering him with that jab, and I've got a good jab and I'm going to use it, a bit like the Farnell situation, use my jab to the full effect, keep popping it out, trebling it, doubling it, you know, and just letting little combos go, and then just not be there when he's ready to hit me. And for 4 rounds, that's what happened to a degree. I got caught early in the first round, which for me was more, it was more of a flash knockdown in the first round. It was nothing major, but then I started to feel I was getting, you know, coming into the fight, if you like, working well with the jab, felt good. When after the 3rd round I said to Paddy, you know, IBF champion, mate, you know, honestly I was starting to say he's not all that, he's not doing anything. You know, he's dangerous, you keep that hands up, keep that, all right, Paddy, he's all right, don't worry about it. Got back into the 4th round and come out for the 4th round, and at the end of the 4th round, it might have been a clash of heads or something. Anyway, he got a cut and he was complaining about his cut, and he just didn't look happy. And I just thought, I'm getting to, he's starting to unravel in front of me here. And the jab was pissing him off big time, because I was doubling it, I was trebling it, and I was getting that jab off all the time. And I could see it was frustrating him. Not enough to do what Froch did, which, you know, in terms of, like, that's what it needed. And that's why I said with a lot of people when he fought Froch, you know, Froch was doing, because it needed that good strong jab. He needs a jab to make him set again. Mine wasn't enough to make him set again. He could still come through, but he was just pissing him off. And I just thought, I'm getting to him, I can do this. And I think after the 4th round, I said to Paddy, oh, he's not that way. I'm gonna have a little bit of a tear up with him. Like, let him feel me right hand there, because I ain't really let that right hand go yet. And to be fair, Paddy learnt me to punch. He gave me a bit of belief in my punching power and so forth. And I was knocking, I think I'd got 5 knockouts in 6 fights with Paddy or whatever. And it was on a run, I was knocking everyone out. And I just felt that I've got the power, I can knock this kid out. So I went out in the 5th round with that in mind. And the next thing you know, I stood with Paddy in the corner and he's saying, you idiot, what did I tell you? And honestly, I'll be honest with you, and forget about the Murphy thing, because and Macklin and whatever else, whoever stopped me beforehand, that was my lights actually turned out, and I, you know, no word, you know, that guy when he hit me in that 5th round, I went out there and I just remember thinking, I'm just going to slip across now, slip the jab, throw the right hand, and obviously his right hand landed on me before my right hand then, and I just remember, the next thing I remember was I was in my own corner with Pad telling me, what did I tell you? And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Got bollocking all the way home on the plane, all the way to the airport. It was a nightmare. Sorry, Pad, sorry. You know, but yeah, honest, when I say this, that my lights were turned out, I can't remember getting from that side of the ring to there. Whereas any of the other fights I've had, even when I've been stopped, I've still kind of remember what was going on and all that. But that was one where I didn't remember how I got from there to there. It was a crazy experience, and I just thought, wow, you know, that's crazy power. You know what? I'll be honest with you. If mentally I was switched on, without being, you know, without blowing me out, but if I was switched on and I told you I was going to do the fight and everything went right, training camp went right, mentally I was switched on for the fight, I never had a hard fight. That was amateur and professional. I've never had anyone take me into the well. See, if I got beaten, my mind wasn't there. I got beat early. I didn't take 10 rounds of getting hammered because I wasn't there, and I didn't want to be there. If the head weren't there, and it was, I'd sort of got in that ring, and it was kind of like, you know, and it just didn't feel right, whatever it may be, and the camp might have gone crap for it, or I might have had an injury, or whatever it may be. I didn't take a beating. You know, you see some fighters, they go till round 10 and then go after, alright, you know, I had this happen, that happened. I wouldn't last to round 10 because I just didn't want to be there from round 1, if that makes sense. But I'm going to be there. I'm still going to hope the chance that I might land a shot from somewhere. But if it's sort of going against me a little bit, I wouldn't say quit, but yeah, you know, I'm going to be easy to hit them. So I can be quite thankful that I never really took a hide in my career, and I never really went through one of them. I'm gutted really, because I think every fighter wants one of them fights. I would have loved to have been involved in a fight where it was kind of. But if anyone watches my fights, it's you know, if I win, it was easy. It was usually pretty easy. Even Eastman wasn't. I mean, Eastman's probably going to be my toughest fight to be in there for 12 rounds. But it wasn't just physically, but mentally tough. So you've got to give it Eastman all day long on that score. This is a gym. This was basically we found this place after doing some sessions around the corner from here, where a young lad had been stabbed and murdered. Basically, Box Clever. It was me basically saying to you, I didn't want a gym originally, if I'm being honest. I was all about getting the boxing to you, And so that's what Box Club is all about. It's a satellite system basically where I come to you and we deliver the sessions wherever you are. It's like, and it's in areas where you can't, there's probably no youth centre, the youth centre's been closed down or something's been happening like that. So we go out there basically, set this boxing set up and we get the kids off the streets and we get them involved in the boxing. So we got involved with this project that was just round the corner project. Somebody had been killed, asked us to go in and do it, do some boxing sessions there. That was already agreed with the police and the council before the kid actually got murdered, and they said, what do you think, Wayne, should we still go in? And I said, yeah, because I believe that if the kid, I never felt the need to run around with a knife or a bat or anything else. You know, these were my weapons. And so if the kids have learned how to box, then maybe this kid might be still here. And so that, I think we should go in there and try and, that's the sort of message we're trying to give these people, that this guy might have still been alive if they'd had a fight with a fist rather than a knife or a bat or whatever it may be. We went there and we was there for, I think it was extended, we done a 6-week pilot to start with, but literally got 100% crime reduction in that area. So that was like the police not coming out there and obviously turning these kids around. And so the police and the council were actually over the moon with them stats, and they said, you've got to stay in the area, what's going to happen? Because where we was actually doing it was being knocked down, there was going to be some buildings there, so we couldn't stay where we was. So they found me this place, believe it or not, was a nursery. So we came in, there was like Disney characters all over the wall. It was I can't remember what, Footprints Nursery it was called, so it was a nursery. So everything here was basically just like Disney characters, and there was walls here and there was walls there. It was just crazy. And you sort of come in and the council and police said, can you run the boxing sessions here, Wayne? And I thought, I don't know, we'll give it a good go. But at the time when we looked at it, to be fair, it looked like it was going to be impossible to do. But I got the guys, there's a few of the other coaches who work for me. We came in, it was at the end of the school year, so it was quite quiet. It was an Easter, I think it was it might have been the Easter holiday that was on at the time. So we sort of come in here and rolled our sleeves. We even had my son, you know, he was only 5 or 6 at the time, whatever. He was in here, he was painting the walls, and everyone was like just chipped on it. And it was literally just a matter of just hard graft really to try and turn it around. It's billed as like a youth centre, and I kind of want to take it back to them days where it's open to everyone in the community. You can come in there, yeah, you can walk through this door and do a bit of boxing, but listen, if you go upstairs, they've got dance going on in this room, they've got yoga going on there, they've got this going on there, and so it's open to everyone. And who knows, you might get someone who's coming in here who's going to do yoga or kickboxing or dance or whatever, sees the boxing gym and decides that he wants to become a boxer, and who knows, he might be my next national champion. You never know. You know, and vice versa, it could work the other way around as well. I just want to do something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more different with it. As I say, this is where we're at the moment. We've just made it a CIC, so the things up there, you see up there, it's now Wayne Elcock's Boxing Academy, which is a community interest company. We've had one national champion out of here already. We've had a top 8 in the country, and we've only been running a couple of years as an amateur boxing club. So I'm chuffed with that. We've got a kid in the CYPs at the minute. He's in the semi-finals of the CYPs. So you know, the beauty for me is like, you know, I've been there with these kids at the amateur level. I know what they're going through, and I didn't want to go right back into the pro game with an amateur start, if you like, because I got my pro training license before I finished, and then I've come right back to grassroots. I want to take a kid to prove myself. I've said it. My whole life has always been about proving myself in terms of, so I want to take a kid from that door who's never boxed before, comes through that door, wins every amateur title that he can win, and then goes on to do well as a professional. Now I'll turn professional. If that kid's ready to go pro, then I'll go with him, you know, and whatever. And then, so hopefully the kids we're getting through that are coming through now, I think the oldest in the squad is only 18. And so and then most of them are mostly youths, 16, 17 and so forth, and we've got some 11-year-olds travelling. So they're the future for me in that going back into the pro game. I will go into the pro game, but when I've made them kids, and I think to really prove yourself as a coach, you've got to do, you know, right at the grassroots. You know, that's what I believe, that's what I'm trying to do myself now with my kids. I'm loving the amateur game. You know, it's great being back on the scene. My kids can come down in the gym. They know I've been there as well, so it's good to sort of inspire them. Obviously they're coming in this journey, and our journey with my amateurs is a different journey to a lot of amateur clubs, where I suppose for them, you'll do the amateur journey and then that's it, see you later, good luck with Joe Gallagher or wherever you're going to. But with me, my journey's with them for life, hopefully, because that's what I'd like, sort of like, so this would be more of a pro-am gym down the line in years to come, where you'd have the pros here and the ams here. You'd never leave the home. I hated going to London and training, don't get me wrong, the people were great down there and stuff, but you're away from home, and this game's hard enough without putting anything else on top of that, we've been away from loved ones and so on. So imagine for me, I always try and put something together that I would enjoy myself. And so for me to think about this, that as an amateur I come and train here, and as a professional I come and train here, there's no difference to my life. I walk through the same door for professional and amateur, just makes it a lot, but for me it makes it a lot easier. The journey's a lot longer, and so yeah, I mean that's the plan down the line really. You were talking to you earlier about Paddy Lynch. There's one of the pictures they made for me. Some of his fights. You probably see some of the lads on there that you may know. You got Pat Caldwell up the top there, and Rob McCracken, Roy Rufford. Some good fighters on there. But when you start getting in the gym and you're training for a fight, a supposed fight, and all you can think about is how you can make the coaching that you're doing on the night even better for the kids to enjoy boxing even more and get them to love the sport as much as me, it's time to get out, you know. And I thought I'm going to get seriously hurt here because I'm not focused on the man who's trying to take my head off in my next fight. You know, I'm more focused on the kid who's not going to do me any damage. You just want to, you know. So it was time to leave at the right time. I felt it was the right time. I didn't feel there was anything to prove. You know, you got the British and the British, the Commonwealth, I got the WB. I'd fought for the IBF. I'd won the English title. You know, it was going back over old ground. I'm going to go back into it now. What am I going to do? But for the British Commonwealth, I've already fought for the title. So what's there's nothing to prove. There'd only be one fight that I would have probably come back for, which went off the radar pretty much straight away really, because the belt was given up, and that was Matt Macklin, obviously, which was a big old Birmingham derby, and that would have been the only fight that would have got my juices going, and you know, and I probably would have shelved the coaching for a bit longer if that fight would have come off. But you know, fair play to Matt. He binged it, took my world rating and so forth, used that, and obviously went on to fight for 3 world titles and so forth on that score. You know, you can't knock the kid, fair play. It's good business. But yeah, that was the only, you know, like I said, I've never been beat by anyone twice, and that was still, you know, that was still in my mind, you know, that's the case. Yeah, it doesn't matter that you've done that, mate. You know, you might have done me in a few days there, but that's it. Listen, it was a bad day at the office for me. There was a lot of stuff going on at the background. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not going to discredit Matt. I did say I was going to, after the fight, and the truth was going to come out and so forth. It might if I ever do an autobiography, but I'm not going to discredit Matt. He put a fantastic performance and I'd done the job. So, you know, it's as simple as that. But there was reasons behind that, but that's for another day. As I say, it might not ever come out. You know, it might be one of them ones, might just leave it buried.